Kia ora, welcome. I'd like to show you some hip strengthening exercises today. Really beneficial if you have sacroiliac problems or old injuries around the tailbone or buttock area. This also helps to strengthen the muscles around the glutes, and the hips also can help with referred pain through the groin. And that's something I've been personally struggling with recently, is pain, but not really sure why, because I'm quite flexible through the hips, but I realized that I wasn't strengthening those muscles to support the core and lower back area. So I hope you find these helpful. So we'll begin by lying on our left side and just coming down onto your elbow, and make sure that your elbow is below the shoulder. If that's not comfortable for you, then you can lie lower down with your hand supporting your head, and make sure that your hips are stacked. So the left hip is below the right hip and the knees are bent. So your feet are about in line with your tailbone, keeping that alignment through the body. So if you're resting on your elbow, just try not to sink down. So keeping strength by lifting upwards. And if at any stage you get too tired, just rest down onto your arm. Okay, so we'll just start with some gentle movements. This is called clamshell. So as you inhale, you're gently lifting the right knee upwards, the top knee, and exhaling it down. Just soft movements, but keeping really still through the core and through your pelvis and lower back. So if this doesn't feel comfortable for you, here's a nicer option, a little bit easier. Just gently lifting the top knee up and down. You may feel the muscles around the outside here through the glutes starting to fire up. Using the breath, inhaling as you raise the knee up, exhaling it down. One more. Good. So if you are lower down, just come onto your elbow. Again, just checking that alignment, elbow below the shoulder. So just working into the oblique muscles, the side abdominal muscles. So using your right hand to press down a little bit for support. Just taking a nice deep breath in, and as you exhale, hug that belly area around the sides of the ribs inwards and through the pelvis, and then gently lifting the hips off the floor, pressing down through the knees. Inhale, relax down. Exhale, hug the belly in, lifting the hips off the floor. So it may only be a small movement, that's fine. Keep going, keeping that support through the pelvis. Try to draw the left shoulder blade back, keeping that support through the shoulder girdle. Some of you might want a little bit more of a challenge. You can straighten the top leg out, or maybe even straighten both legs out. That is quite strong, and I'm not going to go there today, so I just need to listen to what my body is needing in this moment. Right, lovely. And then from there, just sliding down, just take a couple of breaths, resting your head on your hand, just checking that your hips are stacked. So the lower leg, the left leg is still bent, and then extending the right leg out. You're just going to glide it forwards as you exhale, and just draw the toes towards your body, flexing the ankle, and then inhale, pointing the toes away. It doesn't have to go back too far. Exhaling as you bring it forward. So again, using that hand on the floor to support you, and also pressing down through the left foot, the lower foot will help. Creating that simple gliding action. Be careful not to over arch. If you find that the pelvis is pushing forwards as you do that, it's better to create smaller movements. Again, just really isolating the movement from the hip joint, and the hip flexors. Do one more each way. And if at any time you need to rest, that's fine. Just come back into it at your own pace. And just coming back to a neutral position, just rest the leg down for a moment, taking a long, deep breath in and out, letting the body absorb that movement, hugging the belly in. So from here, we're going to raise the leg straight up and then keeping it down. Just keep it hovering in line with your hip as you lower it down. Keep grounded through the left side of your body. Again, some of you might want a little bit more of a challenge. You can come a bit higher. That does kind of push it a little bit into the side body. So if that's not comfortable for you, then stay low. Good. And then from there, we're going to turn the toes downwards, and it will probably be better to stay low for this one. So bringing a little bit of internal rotation there through the leg and hip. You'll feel a different muscle coming into action. Always remembering to rest if you need. Take a breath or two. Creating a rhythm with your breath. So again, the inhale as you're raising the leg up, exhaling it down. We're doing around about 7 repetitions, but you can start with lower number and build up if you need to. This time we'll turn the toes upwards, creating an external rotation. This is more challenging for me. It's really quite a difficult one. So I've realized where I need to strengthen those areas in the hip and glutes. So you can point the toes towards you, I think is more effective, but you can play around with it if you need to. And keeping that stillness through the pelvis. Do 2 more. And then resting that down. Soften through the hip and side body. You can just rest in that position, or if you'd like, you can bring that knee up and towards the chest, keeping the knee in line with your hip, just giving a little bit of a squeeze, getting a nice stretch around the outside. And then bringing your feet back on top and slowly come up, just letting the legs stay bent. And if you don't feel comfortable like this, you can bring that lower leg a little bit further forward, just coming into a gentle side stretch here to open up that left side. So you can hold on to the the right leg with your hand as you open up. So you might just want to stay more upright, and if you feel comfortable, you can lean over a little bit, maybe holding the left knee with your right hand. Okay, and then inhale up and bring your hand down and swinging your legs around to the other side, and we'll work the left leg. Okay, so bending the knees, your feet are in line with your tailbone, hugging the belly in, the hips are stacked on top of each other. So again, you can stay low if you prefer, or come onto your elbow. Using your left hand to support you as you inhale, gently raising the left knee up, exhaling it down. So the feet stay together. The movement is through the knee, lifting it up and down. So find a rhythm of breath that works for you. It doesn't have to be the same timing as I'm doing. Awareness, that mindful awareness into the hip area, or where you might feel discomfort, breathing in space. If you're familiar with the energetic awareness of prana, you might like to visualize that you're breathing in prana and lightness into any areas that feel dull or painful. One more. And then just relax. Coming onto your elbow, if you're not already there. Check your shoulder is directly above the elbow. Sliding that shoulder blade back a little bit and lifting upwards to support the shoulder girdle. Your left hand is resting on the floor. Take a nice deep breath in as you exhale, hugging through the right side and into the pelvis, and then lifting the hips off the floor. Inhale as you relax down. Exhale, hugging the belly in and the side body, lifting the hips off the floor. Keep going at your own pace. As I say, it might only be a small lift, or even if you're feeling the work and not able to lift the hips off the floor, that's okay. You're still engaging those oblique muscles to strengthen the core. And again, if you want a little bit more of a challenge, you can straighten the top leg, or maybe straighten both legs. And then just resting down and coming back down onto your hand. If you prefer to stay higher, that's fine. If you want more of a challenge. From here, we'll straighten that top leg, extending it away from you, keeping it long. And as you exhale, slowly glide it forward. So you're keeping it level with your hip and then gliding it back. Just take care that the pelvis isn't rocking forwards and back. So keeping stillness through the lower back and pelvis. And it helps to push down through the right leg to keep that stability. So flexing the toes as you bring them towards you and pointing the toes away as you extend back. So if you feel steady through the pelvis, you can take the leg back a little bit further and a little bit further forwards. Stay in touch with the breath and movement. Exhaling as you bring it forwards, inhaling as you extend it back. One more, and then resting your leg down for a moment. And to come this way a little so I don't hit the curtain. Again, keeping that lower leg bent as you inhale, raise the leg upwards in a straight line, exhaling it down. Inhale, raise it up and down. So trying to maintain that smooth gliding motion. And if your mind starts to drift off as you do these repetitive movements, just keep coming back to your body and breath. One more repetition here. And then pointing the toes down. There's a slight variation there, but you'll really feel different muscles come into action here. If it starts to get too much for you, simply rest for a few breaths and maybe try another few. Sometimes it helps us to, if you feel steady enough, just bringing the hand on the hip can give you a sense of stability through the hip and pelvis. And then the last lot here, turning the toes upwards, a lot stronger. Again, just go at your pace. I've found by doing these 2 or 3 times a week, it's been really beneficial and I've strengthened it up pretty quickly. So I think the little but often is the key, just a regular practice to strengthen as often as you can. Do 2 more here. Finding a smile if you can as that intensity increases. Just try to soften it around the face and then bringing the knees slowly up towards you. If you feel too wobbly here, you can just rest it down, taking a few breaths there. If you feel steady, bringing that knee in towards the chest, hugging it in. Lovely. And then just coming around onto your tummy just to neutralize everything here. So you can rest your head down and bending the knees, just let the feet gently rock from side to side. A nice soothing motion on the pelvis and around the buttocks. Sometimes little circles are nice as well, just circling the legs. A couple of times, a few times each way. Good. And then just bending, coming back onto your side and bend the knees as you come gently up to a sitting position with your knees bent. If you need more space, just bring that right leg forwards and finishing off with the side stretch here, opening up that right side. So you can either hold the left knee if you need support, or your foot or ankle. If you want a little bit more, take your hand across to the right knee, reaching up through to the fingers, softening through the pelvis. One more deep breath here. As you inhale, slowly relax down. Bringing your legs back out to the front. Maybe just give the hips and legs a little bit of a wake up, stimulating the energy lines, the prana and nadi channels. All right, so I hope you enjoyed, and I hope that helps if you have any hip issues. Thanks for watching. Namaste.